Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. Happy Monday night. No one knows, but I just made it in under like 30 seconds. Well, I was actually late. I didn't make it in. I was late.
It's all right. We expect it now, Jeff. You're too fancy for us. You got a social life.
Yeah, over there eating coconut pie and talking about the neighbors. It was a good evening.
I like it.
Really good evening. How's everybody doing tonight, man? How you doing, Ryan? Did you have a good Monday?
Yeah, just running around, doing a bunch of quotes and stuff. Q4, end of the year. Everybody's trying to get work done, it seems like.
Yeah, I feel that. Good stuff. A little weather blowing through Arkansas here, but we're going to make it happen. We've got the TOC champ, Garrett Morgan, Arkansas bred TOC champ, Garrett Morgan. We're happy to have him on tonight. And this may be the first time we've ever had a tournament champion on that also turned around and ran a tournament that we're having the winner of that tournament on the same night.
Double whammy.
Wearing two hats, man. TD and TOC, all wrapped into one.
It's not a bad one.
It's going to be fun.
Successful in both, it sounds like.
Yeah. The Arkansas Bass Nation event went down on Lake Dardanelle, Ryan's favorite lake, one of his favorite lakes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's right up there.
It's right up there. Went down, and Mr. Paeper, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Paeper, Oklahoma. He came over and took it from Arkansas, and our guy from Texas, man, Tactical Bass, and Philip Wyatt came up and took a spot to the championship as well.
I like it.
He slid in that fourth spot. So
I like it.
stuff.
And we need to get Georgia Bass Nation. They finished up their tournament over the weekend too. Our old friend Josh Counts, who we've spoken to on a couple different occasions. He took the W down there. I think it was on Hartwell. I'm pretty sure is the tournament that I skipped last weekend.
We're getting these late Bassmaster Championship qualifiers, kind of like they're counting the votes late 2 weeks later. Same thing. We're getting people in.
Well, we're trying to certify the win. We don't want to jump the gun on there.
Trying to get these people in. I'm not going to be in this year. I didn't qualify. I didn't even. I don't know. But hats off to everyone that did make it into Lake Fork to that championship. It's going to be epic. Yeah. Are you in, Ryan? Did you make it in?
No, hell no. My shot was on Hartwell, and I looked at the weather, and I looked at myself, and I said, myself don't need to be out in that weather. So I stayed at the house. Yeah, I thought, man, this ain't gonna be fun. I don't like them spotted bass anyway.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, it's all right. We'll get them next year, something like that. Right? Maybe.
No, hell no. I'm about to put all this shit up for sale.
If you guys are jumping on here watching tonight, we're going to do another Revo giveaway tonight. We got some glasses to give away, so help us out on Facebook and share this. Just hit share. One click. It's free. Do it. Hit share. If you're on YouTube, just hit the comment button and the like button, the little thumbs up button. Hit that and comment. You can hit the thumbs down if you want. I don't care. But just interact somehow.
Yeah, hit a button.
Yeah, and comment over there, and we'll
talk some trash.
Glasses. Yeah, we'll give you some glasses later. It'll be good. But yeah, season's kicking up. Season's winding down, and season's kicking off at the same time, even though we're late in the year. Like Tennessee starts early, right? That's right.
Look at
what do you think about that?
Old Road Dog. Old Road Dog probably gonna be getting a little less road time after this power play. I'm happy for him though, man. He's got him a good one, and he's locked in, son. Marshall done put a ring on it.
Yeah, if everyone didn't realize, Jordan Marshall got engaged. It looked like through his interactions on the socials, everybody knows. But if you don't know,
now you do.
Young fella. We need to get some of these. We need to get like Ewing. He needs to get engaged to somebody, and we need to get some of these guys out of the.
I hope he meets the right man. You know. I'd love to see the boys settle down. Now we'll get Ewing on, and we can poke him a little bit on that. We got to hear about his dominant AOI run that he clutched up at the TOC.
Yeah, young Edwin doing things over there. But tonight it's all about the champ, Garrett. He went on that 3-day grind, man. Had a good day one. Came in, I think he finished day one in 11th. He can correct me if I'm wrong on that. And just steadily climbed to take home kind of a late flurry with some coals to take the championship.
Yep.
He was about to throw up. He was nervous. It was touch and go until the weigh-in. But he got it done, man. That was so cool to see, you know, a guy that I consider a friend and one of the guys that's always out there grinding, Garrett, take home that title. Join your club, Ryan, the Grand Champion Club.
Boy, it's getting slim around here.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get him in here first and talk to him, but we can't forget, we gotta shout out these sponsors, man. Eco Fishing Shop. Ryan's wearing the cap tonight. Eco Fishing, tip of the cap to them. EcoFishingShop.com. Hit them up if you need anything for your kayak. If you need a new kayak, hit them up and they'll get it right to your door. And I'm wearing the wet. Look at that. Look at us.
I know. This wasn't even planned.
Yeah, the Western Sun cap tonight. WesternSunDistillery.com is the website. If you go there, it'll show you the closest dealer to you that you can get some. And I mentioned it last week and threw everybody off with the Drizzly app. Use that Drizzly app. That's off your house. We'll provide you. Just get you some of that Drizzly app. And then Pro Guide Lithium, of course. Get those pro guys charged up, ready for what you're going to be doing this fall and early into next season. We'll be ready to go. I already mentioned Revo. We're doing another Revo giveaway tonight. We did a double giveaway last week, which was fun.
Yeah.
Getting caught up. And then Seaguar and Z-Man, we appreciate them. And the Gill gear. Almost needed it to come across the street tonight because it was coming in sideways, but I made it.
What are y'all getting out there? Garrett was talking about that weather. He said you may not have any internet tonight. Might be the issue.
Yeah, it was 70 degrees. It's going to go back down to like 40. So these big weather shifts over here.
Yeah, I'll have a sinus infection next week.
Yeah,
so
yeah, cool. You can already. It's happening. It's happening. But all the people that support the show, we appreciate it because it helps us give stuff to y'all. Because you guys make the show more fun by commenting and making Ryan and I cringe, laugh, all kinds of things.
Yes, more cringing than laughing usually.
Yeah, but let's get our guy, the champ.
Let's do it.
There he is, Garrett Morgan, G Money.
What's up, fellas? How's it going?
What's up, man?
Living the dream, pal.
Oh yeah, man. Just up here trying to maintain these bulldogs. Just had to shut the door because they won't stop barking. So
we gonna get a pancake or waffle sighting tonight?
I doubt it. They've got the cat cornered somewhere, and I hear them going to town.
All right.
So.
All right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, boy.
But you got the projector on the wall. You watching your game tape up there? What are you doing?
Oh man. So we moved about 2 years ago, and I really haven't set myself up some good space yet here. I mean, I've claimed the garage, obviously, but there's a movie room for the girls.
Oh.
There's a big thing there. So when they have friends over and stuff, it's above the garage. They'll come up here, eat popcorn, make a mess, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
There we go. That's awesome.
So it doesn't really get used that much. So I feel like I need to turn this into my own little studio.
You could claim a corner there anyway. Get the end of the wall set up.
That's what I'm thinking. So yeah.
Or just play your highlight reel on that projector screen behind you while you're doing a podcast.
Yeah. I enjoy doing the YouTube thing for all 20 people that watch it.
Yeah. It's a labor of love. There turns out to be a lot more work into it than what meets the eye.
Yeah. I think I probably get the most out of Instagram on, reels and stuff there. But, socials can be tough these days if you don't have blonde hair and, set a at least C's,
bait casters. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
man.
if you watched UFC the other night, it's a culture shift. We're getting back to what matters.
Oh boy. Well, we're starting off on the right foot.
Well, we're good. So Garrett, you're no stranger to the winner's circle, dude. I mean, you've won your share of tournaments. You've won, Lake Fork. That was big news during the Tundra a couple years ago, taking home that blue trophy. But what does it mean to win this, which has kind of been known as our the pinnacle of kayak fishing since AJ kicked this thing off and took over the TOC? Really the hardest championship to get into, probably the most elite field. What does it mean to pull this off and win this tournament, team?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a very different feeling. Really the Lake Fork tournament was probably the biggest I had won prior to this. And, I went there and had a practice to where, I kind of had an idea, like I was going to win this thing, And after day one of that event, like I was like, yeah, I'm going to win this tournament. I mean, I felt it. I knew it. Practice for this particular event, I moved around quite a bit. First day I got there, I fished around the state park. And, I had the live scope out and caught a 19-incher, caught a 16-incher, caught a giant catfish, caught another giant catfish. Caught like a 12-incher, caught another giant catfish, went a little further, caught another giant catfish, went back to the truck and threw it in the back seat and never put it back on the kayak.
There you go.
I knew for me, I was going to spend more time, looking at fish that I have no idea what they are. Now, don't get it twisted. I cast 2 checks this year using the live scope. But for me, and
in catfish tournaments, or were they bass tournaments?
No, they were bass tournaments. One of them was a championship on 10 killer. I used it the whole time. But for my strengths of what I like to do and how this lake's set up, I knew I was probably just gonna go do the cypress tree thing or find something that just looked swampy to me. So day 2 of practice, I wanted to check the river out. Went as far north as we could go. And found a little stretch, probably 4 miles from the ramp that was way off in some backwater that opened up. Had 92 inches there in practice. Spent way too much time out there that evening getting back. That was a whole story in itself, but finally made it back. Killed my battery, killed my graph battery, hooking it up to the motor. So when I went back in the tournament, I took 2 batteries. But anyways, so then the next day of practice, I went further south and actually found them on a top toad over some dollar pads and caught a 22.5-incher that way. Mm-hmm. Ended up catching 94 inches that day. The last day of practice, I went a little further south to the next ramp down. And, I didn't do as well as far as numbers, but I found a little spot that had an 18 and 19-incher in it. That was, you could tell it was an old creek channel. Just kind of how it's set up. And that was kind of my practice. And one thing I think that I've been good about over the years is, like, I go fish my tournament. Like, I kind of have an idea of what I've done in practice, and I'm going to go fish it. So never in a million years, based off that practice, did I think I was going to win this tournament. I knew there were bigger limits on the lake. I knew there were folks, catching some bigger fish down there. I'd heard there was a 27-incher caught in practice or something crazy like that. Yeah. So apparently it's on its last leg, but,
no matter as long as it'll eat something.
Right. So, I was just hoping to play the numbers game, knowing that it was a 3-day tournament. And I really felt like, if I could average, I felt like it had to be 94 inches a day or even get close to that I would maybe have a shot. But if I stayed in the 90s, I could probably cash a check. And so, really, I was just trying to cash a check in the tournament. I wasn't out there swinging for the fence trying to win the thing. And, I looked at the weather forecast. I knew day 2 it was going to, or after day 1, it was going to downpour that night. And talking to people at, board checking that, at this point, there's only 65 people in there. We're chit-chatting with each other about practice and this and that. And, all these guys are professionals. So it's like, I was sitting there like, man, if I can get one day out of the river, if I get 1 day out of the river, I think I'd be good. I know I can't get more than 1 day because it's going to be blown out. And so day 1, I roll up to that ramp. Christine's there. Jordan Welliver was there as well. And he went north. Me and Christine went south. We were going to the same spot. Now, I will say, she beat me there by about 45 minutes. So I like my autopilot, but man, she cooked it down that thing with her motor and her setup there.
She running that big 300? Stern
yeah,
300?
I'm not sure what it was. I don't think it was Stern.
I think she run. I don't know. I thought she was running the big Torpedo, the 1103.
Yeah, but she could scoot down the river pretty quick. You know, it was funny. I watched one of her highlights on Instagram, and I saw where she had caught a 19-incher. Now this was, you know, a week or so after I saw this. Right where she caught that 19-incher, I'm not kidding you. I didn't know she had fished there. I came in behind her and caught my 21 and my 20 in that same exact spot. So, you know, I felt like that spot had 100 inches in it. Like, neither one of us fished clean in there that day. I escaped out of there with 92 inches. I left a lot of meat on the bone. You know, she told me she lost some good fish too. Jordan came in there late. I think the spot up north was not as productive as it had been in practice. And, you know, I got out of there with 92, and I just had it in my mind, you know, that next ramp down I had caught 94 inches, and it was supposed to downpour that night. So I was like, man, I don't think I don't think it was safe probably for me to go back in the autopilot. You know, I don't know what's going to be floating down that river, how blown out it was going to be. It was pretty narrow. So I made the decision to, you know, go to my second spot. And one thing that was good, because I was kind of a little bit, you know, in the back of your mind, you're like, dude, you caught 92 inches. You know, there's more fish in there. It's like, maybe you should go back. The thing that saved me from doing that was I tent camped. So I knew exactly how much rain we got. And it was a lot. And so that helped make the decision for me pretty quick. And so day two, you know, I went to that top toed area, and man, I had ran that thing for about 4 hours in the morning, caught one fish. And, you know, finally I just had to pull the plug on it. I was like, this ain't working. You know, you're going to end up losing a chance to even cut a check if you don't move around. So I started heading south towards my other spot, and there was a little bit of current coming through this little swampy area. And I went by, you know, a couple cypress trees that they had a little curve in them, so you could kind of channel swing of some sort. And when I did, I heard fish start blowing up on the bank right there. And you know, shout out to one of y'all sponsors, Z-Man. I had the Evo tied on and a green pumpkin with a black and blue trailer. Shot that thing up there, and I think I ended up catching a 21 or so. Threw it back up there. I think caught an 18 out of there or so, and made a couple rounds, flipped a couple trees, got a limit, you know, in the area, and then came back over to that little current seam there and fished it out. And I think I cold, you know, a little bit there. I made it down to my other spot. And by the time I got down there, the sun had popped out, and it was just not one of those spots. It was kind of out in the open, you know, where that sun gets to blazing. Because when I've been there in practice, it was overcast. That sun was blazing, and those fish weren't there. But so I kind of wrapped up the day one. I think I had 91 and some change. And, you know, went out, had some margaritas with our boy Siddiqui after day two.
Dangerous move.
Yeah,
I know, bro.
risky.
I know. And trust me, he was trying to push the limit there too. He's like, you can have another one. You can have another one.
Yeah, he don't have a lot of quit in him, especially if he's not in the top 10.
But you know, we were looking at the leaderboard though, and I'd looked at some of the bigger limits that people had. You know, probably the person that I felt like it was going to win it more than anybody when I looked at the leaderboard was Ewing.
Yeah,
you know, he had 94 back to back, and he was consistent. And you know, there were some people that had one big limit, but then the other one wasn't that great. And there were some that, you know, had some mid levels. And in the back of my mind, I was like, it's possible if I catch 100 inches. And, you know, some of these folks run out of fish, or maybe that live scope bite isn't there. I knew a lot of folks were sharing fish out of a certain area. So I didn't know how that would all play out. But, I was just going to go fish my tournament and see how it went. Going into day 3, my buddy Jeff, he drove down there with me so we could get through the night without having to stop the first night, so I get an extra day of practice. I packed.
That's nice of you, Jeff.
Hey, side note, Garrett texted me in practice thinking it was the other Jeff, saying he was on him. He's like, I'm on him. Come get me. I'm like, well, that's good, man, but I think you're texting the wrong Jeff.
Yeah. Give me about 13 hours. I'll be right there.
Yeah, well, I was happy that dude did that, because that got me an extra day of practice. Otherwise I'd have had to stop probably midway and then lose a day of practice essentially. So I kicked him a little finder's fee, for the help. But anyways, now I figured it's the least I could do. So his finder's fee was the graph I won for the Angler of the Year 6th place thing. So it was a nice graph. So hopefully he'll get it hooked up appropriately. But anyway, so day 3, before we left the house, I'm the one that packed up my truck. Then I went to his house, got him, and left. So when we're, heading to the ramp, because he's going to take the truck and while I'm out there fishing. So I'm telling him how I packed the truck up. I'm like, listen, bro, I did this, I did that. And there's 15 yards of visibility. It's so foggy. And as I'm telling him, I just hear him scream stop sign. And I slam the brakes on. And I scoot through the stop sign. And when I got to the edge of the road, I just let off the brake because I knew I wasn't going to stop. And we went through a ditch, ended up on a golf course. And,
wow.
Yeah.
That's solid.
It was, so that's how day 3 started.
Okay.
So battery goes flying. The seat came up on the autopilot. Battery went flying out on the golf course. My seat risers are scattered on the golf course. My little thing that holds the graph had broke. And I apologize. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. I could have killed you. Could have killed me. I'm glad there's no traffic at 5 a.m. So we're piecing all this stuff back together. And, I don't know what's
going to Can we blame any of this on Sadiqi's margaritas, or was this just
No.
fog?
This is straight fog. Yeah. No,
it wasn't margaritas had nothing to do with it. It was just the fog.
He'll tell you, I left early. I left early. So I was like, dude, I got stuff to do. So anyways, end up getting everything from the kayak back to the kayak. And about that time, some guy pulls up in a truck. And I guess he lives over there, and he's like the greenskeeper. And dude, he was like, "I need y'all to get off the back of my green.
Yeah,
get off the collar.
No shit, buddy."
I was like, and that was my response pretty much. I was like, "Bro, it ain't like we planned this shit."
Yeah,
like,
we were gonna fish here. What time does the tournament start?
But I told my buddy, I was like, "Grab me the duct tape." We duct taped my little rail that holds the graph on there, threw the battery in there. And I was like, "All right, let's go fish." And, hit McDonald's up, went over to the ramp, and got over there. And, the first day when I got there, it was just me. The second day, I see your boy Jordan. So we end up in the
newly engaged Jordan,
same ramp.
Day 2's when Jordan wrecked him, too, wasn't it? Didn't he put up a mega bag on day 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so day 3, we end up in the same spot. And I was fishing a bit. I was fishing kind of right there by the ramp in the mornings. That's where I caught that 22.5 incher. Now, my little current seam I found on day 2 was a bit south of that. And so I started there, I threw the top toed, but told myself I'm only giving it 30 minutes. Like I wasted 4 hours the day before on it. Threw that for 30 minutes and went straight down that current seam. Threw up there with the chatterbait, caught a 17. And, it was a struggle for a while after that. Ended up going back north, flipped trees, found one good fish up there. Went to a creek up there, and I got on a bunch of 13 and 14 inchers and filled a limit. So that's that moment when you, kind of breathe a little bit. It's like, hey, I should at least cash a check. I was in 8th place going into the day. So basically, if I field a limit on that last day, I'm probably going to get, at least 15th place was my thought. So I could breathe a little bit there. Because I caught one decent fish off a tree, I proceeded to flip every tree in the area for the next several hours, which yielded 0 fish. So towards, I think, noon or so, I decided I was going to go, back to that current seam. And, but the current had been dying out quite a bit. So I told myself, I was like, as I'm heading down there, I'm like, those fish just had to move up. They had to move up where that current's a little stronger, where it bottlenecks somewhere. And I just put that autopilot on 6, and I'm going through a cypress tree forest. Now, luckily, the canopy is so high in there, you don't have to worry about your rods hitting any limbs or anything like that. So you can just roll through there. And I'm slinging that chatterbait and burning it. And I finally get to where I can see, the main creek channel where this current was coming from. And I sling out there and I catch a 21-incher off a stump and get it in, throw back out, catch an 18-incher. And at this point, I'm like, well, I'm going to go load my fish and see what's up. So I go south a little bit to where I can get some service, load fish, and I was in 4th place, and I was 2 inches out. And I was highly puzzled by that. And but at the same time, I won't lie, like, dude, it was like a shark smelling blood in the water. I mean, I was like, oh shit, I done found fish, and I'm only 2 inches out. I came back in there, and Jordan had kind of nosed around into some of the trees, and I told him where I was, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna catch 2 20-inchers and win this tournament. And made several circles, caught 2 good fish off that stump, weren't quite 20 inches, and caught a few more that couldn't help me, so I knew I was close to 98 inches or so, but I felt like going into that day, I felt like I needed 100. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, somebody probably caught a 25, 26-incher at the end of the day on the lake. And so, when I left, from fishing that day, I really didn't know. I had no clue.
This is the pictures from right after that. I think you posted these.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said 2 late calls. I don't know what's going to happen, but are these the 2 late big ones that you caught right here?
Yep. I think that first one, I think may have been the 21.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good afternoon. Kind of found a little magic section there where current was just pushing up against that stump and these trees. And it's like you could leave it and come back and, it kind of reload. Boat came through there, even caught a couple off of it. So it's a pretty hot, juicy spot. Got back to the truck, and Jeff is, got back up to the ramp, and Jeff is clueless. Like he's got no clue what's going on. He's like, how'd you do? And I was like, I possibly might have won it. And he's freaking out. He's like, what? And I was like, yeah, dude, there's a chance. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know what those guys did late on the lake. And, how many of them caught a giant fish. But in the back of my mind, some of those guys down there live scoping, you think could probably pull up a giant, especially on that lake. There were a lot of big fish caught, and I knew Casey was in the mix. I knew Ewing was in the mix, and Ryan. And so, I didn't really have a good idea until we got to awards and we're kind of talking to folks. And I found out Ewing didn't coal, and then I found out Casey didn't coal after the board went off. The guy from Florida was the only one I didn't know, and didn't know what he had done. So I was like, well, if they call us in the top 5 and they call him for 5th, I think I got it. But then, I didn't know Ryan had cold. I thought Ryan hadn't cold. So then he's still standing with me, when it's the top 2. And now I'm really about to throw up, So, but, I was like, hey, did you get the 180? He's like, no. I was like, oh, thank God. So, but it was pretty
Good,
surreal. No, it wasn't that, dude. I mean, I think that dude put up 100 inches or something on day 2. There was a lot of big limits caught on that lake. People have asked about it, at the tournament I just put on. I was like, look, I just hung around long enough to have my best day on the third day, and just played the numbers game, and it worked out.
Yeah, Garrett, you and I have had conversations before, and you kind of get a little humble with it sometimes when we've talked to you, like, I may not be the best angler at this or that, but I will outgrind anybody. I think you're a very talented angler, but I know you got that grind in you when it comes to the, when you said, hey, I've got a shot 2 inches here, that switch actually flipped, didn't it?
It did 100%. Like, I even texted my family group text. I don't know if I want to say this. People be like, what a dick. But, I mean, I put in the family group text. I was like, I'm 2 inches out. I'm about to go win this. Watch this shit. I mean, because when I saw I had a shot, like, because going into the day, like, I'm telling you, like, I was just glad that we didn't kill anybody.
Yeah, when you're having a yard sale on the golf course on the way to the ramp.
So, but, when I looked at the leaderboard at that point, I was like, oh man, like, I really got a shot. Like, this could happen. And some things had just went right in the tournament. Like, so whenever I went south on day 2, I had 1 fish, and that was at 11, and I was calling by 11:20. And it just happened to go by the right trees, move that bait up on those trees. Fish blew up on them. I spin around, chunk up there, and start catching fish. So some things have to get lucky for you too. That was one of those things. And you had to adapt every single day. You really did. This wasn't one of those tournaments for me where I could just do the same thing every day. Now, the first day I caught them flipping in current seams, but it was like a really tight creek. And so it's like all the little corners, where logs and stuff will stack up.
And you talked about on day 1 losing some fish. What were you losing the fish on? Like, what happened to make day 1 kind of go differently than day 2 and 3?
So day 1, I was using an offset hook to start the day, and I lost a giant right before I caught the 21. I mean, it was bigger than that fish. I cut it off, went to a straight shank hook, dug in, found a brand new jungle hook, tied it on, and then I started catching fish. But I think I had lost 2 or 3 before I caught one. But those, like I said, those were all creek fish for the most part, where I was flipping. I was throwing a big creature bait. The color for me was that California 420. I used it up there. I used it on the lake as well. Day 2, I guess because it had rained and I knew there was a little more current in that area than what had been in practice. I felt like you could probably get bit on a chatterbait pretty good, even though I didn't start out doing that. It still baffles me. I never really caught good fish on that top toad because, dude, I had 94 inches on just the top toad in practice. But I couldn't get that going in the tournament. It's, you got to know when to pull the plug and move on. And I think the experience, the number of tournaments I've fished, even mistakes I've made this year, I think have helped me with that quite a bit.
Solid question.
Yeah, was that
California 420? What bait or is 420 weed?
Calms his nerves.
I've been to Santee a couple times. I have not seen him eat weed, so I don't know.
Well, maybe he's asking if Garrett took a gummy to calm his nerves after the game.
Yeah.
Now that was Jeff during practice when he made friends with a Indian gas station guy.
Oh,
that gave him a gummy, and Jeff didn't read very well, and he thought it was 100 milligrams, and turned out it was 1,000. So Jeff was pretty chill for about 24 hours after that.
I'm not good at milligrams, but that's a substantial increase in milligrams.
I don't know if you can OD on weed, but I'm pushing it.
I'm pretty sure you can OD on gas station gummies. I would be willing to bet.
Synthetic weed at the gas station. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, man, unbelievable victory. People were pulling for you. Selfishly, as somebody that's been on the Old Town team for a while, and you're a teammate of mine there, I thought it was funny to see all the Old Town dudes up there in the top 3, top 4. Old Town made a little funny troll post about it. Maybe rename this thing the Old Town BOS series or whatever. How cool was that to share the stage with your teammates up there? Casey up there, Ryan up there.
Man, that was pretty awesome. I've fished out of a couple different platforms. Dude, I always go back to that autopilot. I mean, and I know it's not the fastest. I know you lose some speed, but just what you can do with the foot controls on it, as far as, keeping yourself going straight, put the motor on 1 or 2 and just kind of go down a bank and fish. And even just being able to stand up on it.
Yeah,
And,
stability is the biggest thing for me on that. Like, especially when you're fishing around tight cover like that. Having such a stable platform is pretty slick.
And, I really don't use the spot lock as much as I thought I would. I think I probably use it more to take pictures so I don't, move off my spot,
Or after you catch a fish. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
but it's a good vessel, man. And, Casey and Ryan, they were both very happy for me, and it was fun to be up there. And even Chris Hartman was there from the team, and I've been buddies with him for a long time. So it was a cool moment for sure to share it with people that I've grinded it out for a long time against. And like I said during awards, a lot of folks on their best day that they'll get me. I've took a lot of L's to a lot of these folks, and to hang around long enough to have my best day on day 3 and come out on top was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Jeff, awesome. pull that leaderboard back up one more time, just so people kind of understand. Like you see, look at Casey Reed's day 3, yeah. 104.25, and if you scroll down and look at Marshall's numbers, he was at 274 3/4 after the 3 days. But look at his day 1. Like that shows you, like, one bad decision on one of these 3 days can knock you out of winning it. Like, to come in with 81 inches and be in 8th place, like it wouldn't have taken much to to bump him up there into the top. Like, and that goes across the board, especially when you're fishing a fishery like Santee. Garrett's mentioned a couple times, 23, 24, 25, 26-inch bass. Like, one bite could make the difference for, really anybody in that top 10 to make a huge jump. And we'd be talking to somebody different tonight.
Yeah.
It's all got to go right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at that leaderboard, man. It's day 1. What are you? You're 9th? Day 2?
I think I was 9th. Day 2, I was 8th.
Yeah. 14th overall for the day 2, but combined totals 8th. And then the 4th place stringer of day 3, but that consistency for all 3 days, boom, you're the champ.
Yeah.
And that's so tough over 3 days, man. So
Dusty Yacker with 103 3/4.
Oh, dude, he killed it. Yeah. He killed it on that last day.
That's awesome. Way to grind, Dusty.
Well, so, I'm sitting there looking at all that, I mean, I knew some people had 100-inch bags. So that's what I'm saying. On that ride to the awards, I was very unsure.
Yeah.
All worked out. You got to have your best day, and they got to have a little tougher of a day on those big events.
Well, we're gonna have you switch hats now, Garrett. Take off your TOC champion hat, put on your Arkansas Bass Nation tournament director hat, and we're gonna bring in the Bass Nation. Are you ready for that?
Man.
Change moods. Go to TD
this
mode.
Was fun. Yeah.
TD mode. What's up, Ronnie? Thanks for sitting patiently, man.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how do you pronounce your last name, first of all?
Paper.
Paper. All right.
You nailed it, Jeff. Look at you.
Earlier.
I think that's the first pronunciation you've gotten right.
That's correct. That's great. So congrats twice, Ryan. Yeah. So a little backstory on the event, Garrett, and you can expand or just tell me to shut up on this, but I trolled the Oklahoma. I trolled the Oklahoma guys a little bit with the initial release of this event. It was going to be an Arkansas only, or participate in an Arkansas event only tournament, and it ended up being an open tournament where anybody would come to it. But how did you make the decision to make that change and open it up after a week of funny posts on Facebook there?
Man, just talking to people. Really, Sean Accord, who helps in Oklahoma, me and him chatted quite a bit, and he kind of explained kind of what they've been doing in Oklahoma, and kind of why you want to make these open to get more people in, to give your anglers more opportunities to have qualifying spots. I talked to Steve-O a little bit as well, getting to learn the process a little bit more. And, so the more I learned, the more I realized. And I was in South Carolina when I talked to some people there too. When I was like, you know what, let's just open it up, get as many people in, so we can get as many people qualified. So it was pretty cool to watch it unfold. It is different being on this side of things for sure, but it was kind of exciting watching the punches being thrown back and forth. We had some people jump out to early lead and then watch people come in, but it was pretty cool. I will say this, and people are probably going to raise hell that I'm about to say this, but it needs to be said. And I'm not talking about myself because I didn't judge the fish. Okay, I had somebody do that. But there is no way in hell people should do that for free anymore.
No,
for sure.
I don't care if you add a $5 admin fee to the registration fee or how you go about doing this. I thought about for us in the future. I asked for $200 to get trophies from a title sponsor. Shit, I'll just ask for $300. Ask for $300. Give the judge $100. Be done.
Yeah, that's the shittiest job in kayak fishing.
It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. You have to reach out to anglers for this and that and this and that. Now, all I did was organize the thing and, put it all together. But James Whited was our judge, and I'll tell you, he didn't do that for free for us. I wouldn't let him. And I hope to see maybe a shift in kayak fishing where, the judges, get a little little admin fee or something like that.
William, before we get William Vest knows people. He knows the higher ups, Ryan. So I don't want to get sideways with him. That's what I was told. He knows the higher ups.
Oh boy,
my bad, William.
Oh shit.
Peace.
So Ronnie, enough of this bullshit. What did you do? A lot of us are familiar with Lake Dardanelle. It's hosted, multiple national trail events. I don't like it. So how did you? How much experience?
Ask Ronnie if he liked it before you poison the waters here.
How much experience did you have on Dardanelle prior to this event, and do you enjoy fishing that lake at all? Honestly,
I don't like the lake at all.
he told me.
Take his trophy back, Garrett. Take it back right now.
Rowdy Ronny Paeper is apparently your God-given name. I'm sorry.
I went back whenever Hobie was there a couple of years ago. Spent 4 days. I didn't want to go this weekend, but last chance I did.
Damn. I caught enough of that to hear that he doesn't like Dardanelle.
Yeah. Not my favorite. I'll go back.
Yeah.
How did you? I mean, I don't know. Have we fished a fall tournament out there? Didn't we one time? Yeah,
spring
I thought
fall,
so.
I believe.
Yeah. So how did it set up? This time of year. I mean, I know when we fished it previously, it's been a lot of shallow. What's that nasty grass, Jeff? Where you were catching them down there?
Yeah, just that
just
bank
weeds,
grass.
like bank weed or something, bank grass, something. Did it set up like that, or did you find these fish hiding somewhere a lot more fun to fish?
So leading up to the tournament, I was looking around on maps and I found a lot of rock, like about a 50-foot stretch of just rock. There was no grass, no wood. I wanted to throw a crankbait that morning and caught my first 3, and then I went and adventured around for a little bit. Couldn't have a bite in any grass, any wood, nothing. So I just fished rock all day.
That actually sounds a little more appealing. I've tried that on like the wing dams and stuff up the river, trying to honestly just trying to stay away from that that bank grass shallow bite. I mean, were you fishing like offshore? Were you kind of beating the banks? Like I know there's a ton of riprap obviously out there, especially as you get down toward the marina and stuff. Like kind of, what were you looking for in your map study, I guess?
Really just rock, any type of rock. I didn't want to be around grass. In the morning, I started off just running down the bank with a square bill. And then, I didn't have a good morning at all. Went to one of my spots I'd marked a couple of years ago with the Hobie. And that's where I caught that 20. And I actually had somehow skipped a square bill underneath an overhanging tree. Don't that happened, but it happened. But after that, I just, I only had 4 fish, and I could never get a fifth fish. I was only catching short fish throughout the whole day. I went back to my starting spot and I found a rock pile, and it was about 14 foot, and then the rock pile was about 8 foot. Started throwing that. It was an MR6. I was throwing it just right above that rock pile, and I was watching the bigger fish were coming up at it, but they weren't getting it, and then they just died back down. So started thinking, tied on a jig and just pitched it in there, and I caught 5 or 6 back to back. Hauled up all in the last hour. It was
How late in the day was that that you figured that out?
1:45.
Oh, wow. Taking it down to the wire. So you said you were watching the bigger fish come up. I'm assuming you were scoping them?
Yes and no. I don't really watch the scope while I fish.
Yeah.
But I figure out, I was only catching little fish through there. And I was just looking around. So I was trying to figure out, if there was any bigger fish down there. And I was watching the square bill come through, and I noticed they were coming to it, but they just weren't committing. So, whenever I tied the jig on, I just turned my live scope off to the side and just kind of fan cast over that rock pile.
I see you got your plug in. Do you carry a drive with you in case your motor malfunctions?
Yes, I do.
That's smart. That's smart man. Don't be Jordan Marshall out there.
I've burned myself.
Live and learn, yeah.
Jordan's burned me.
Ronnie, I'm looking on your deck there as I look through these pictures. You got a lot of action, a lot of stuff laying on the deck there. How much of that did you go through before you landed on the square bill that got you going in there?
Pretty much all of it. It was morning. It really was. I caught my first 3 fish pretty fast. Early in the morning I started throwing big baits for some reason, but once I put the square bill on, I caught 3 back to back, and I thought it was going to be a fantastic day, and then I didn't have another bite until that 20, which that came about 2 hours later after the 3 fish. So it was a tough morning bite and midday bite. It was all in the later day.
Are there any good lakes in Arkansas, gentlemen, where
That's
it's
enough.
Not just such a miserable
Damn.
grind, even if you win?
That's enough of you. Garrett, tell this man, we got some good lakes around here, man.
You had one and they drained it. What?
It's going to be a super lake.
It is going to be a super lake. Also, Millwood, down south is good.
Yeah, I always brag on Bull Shoals, but nobody ever gives it any love. I like Bull Shoals a lot up there.
Noted.
Yeah.
Ronnie, did you know you were going to win after you caught those fish late in the day? Did you have a pretty good hint that you were going to do it?
I got on Facebook and saw Garrett talking.
I was giving updates, baby.
Midday update, Garrett Morgan.
Yes and no, but it was way up in the air. Like someone up and would have had it.
Yeah. Well, it was equal opportunity qualifying. Had 1 Oklahoma, 2 Arkansas, 1 Texas. So you spread the love there, Garrett. Making that.
I was happy for Phillip for sure. I saw him down at South Carolina, and he was stressing. He's like, man, I really like to get in, but he also wanted to fish that No Limits tournament at Lake Fork, which I did too. So I should have looked at my dates better, but it's what that is. But man, in one of my updates, I said, if you can get to 86 inches on Dardanelle, you're probably gonna be in the top 3. And Ronnie went over that.
Yeah, it's a great day on Dardanelle. How was it sitting in that judge's seat, Garrett? Because I know you're pretty good on the lake anyway, so you kind of know the potential and what's going on there. Was that fun to see some of these out-of-towners try to figure it out and bringing in these nice fish?
Yeah, for sure. And Phillip had to reach out to me to try to, because I had 2 board checks. I had one the night before and I had one early in the morning. And he was trying to gauge his timing as far as how far he'd have to drive after he came up there in the morning at 5 a.m. And I was like, well, where are you going? And he told me. And so in the back of my mind, I just fished that stretch where he was going a couple months ago and cashed a check in a big boat tournament. So I was like, man, he's going to be able to do some damage, I think. There's some gizzards that hang in that area. There's a lot of bass in there. So I felt like he was probably going to do well being an out of towner. Now, there was a gal that came up from Texas named Jen Nolan, and she actually had a really good practice. But, the weather was a bit different. During the event, we had a lot of overcast basically till noon. And I think when she did well in practice, it was pretty much sunny. But I think she caught a lot of them on a worm around grass and stuff. So I think she, was disappointed in how her day went. But I think she at least got to catch some Dardanelle bass. But I was expecting her to maybe climb late when the sun got up. Ronnie kind of came out of nowhere on us. When he threw up that 20, I think it was 20 and a quarter inch fish, I was like, oh, hold on. I was like, Oklahoma has checked into the building. But, Ryan, I'll tell you this. Ronnie didn't win big bass. Believe it or not.
What's bigger than 20 inches in Arkansas?
On Dardanelle, right? No, 21 incher. Someone caught a 21 incher out there. Little 21 inch and some change. So that was pretty cool to see too.
You mentioned gal coming up from Texas. It made me think were the Hibbs sisters in this, but I think I saw one of them on the leaderboard.
One of them was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my bug spray people. I'll never forget the Hibbs. And they helped me drag my kayak when I had one leg up there.
Well, Eddie Jones from Oklahoma was just out of the qualifying spot. He was fifth. So these out-of-staters did pretty good.
There we go. That's good. Now, Ronnie, did you or are you going to fish any Bass Nation stuff in Oklahoma? Was this your last shot to get in as well? To the club? Had you even tried to get in this year?
Yeah, I fished 4 out of the 5 Bassmaster, and I did bad on all of them. It was a year. Good one day and bad the other.
Well, that's all right.
Ain't no minute like the last minute, man. You made it in. You looking forward to getting down there for the championship?
Yeah, I am. I've been to Fork a couple times, and I really like the lake.
I like it. We may try to slide down there and do some coverage.
Do some talking.
Yeah.
Do some talking.
Well, the one thing we're good at, Jeff.
That's right. We can talk. That's about it.
Our
these
one
days.
life skill. Garrett, how are you going to like a full-on trail for the Arkansas Bass Nation next year? That way you don't have to deal with the Oklahoma border wall?
No. The more I've kind of looked into this, when I initially thought about going to a trail, I was under the impression that each event got to qualify folks. So when I found out that's not the case, I was a bit puzzled as to why people are doing trails. So, we have a strong enough local trail here in Arkansas. I mean, there's several of them across the state. I don't know that it's necessary to do a Bass Nation trail. I think what we try to do in the future is continue to have this event on Dardanelle. It's pretty centrally located to all the clubs, and try to have it, maybe a week after the big event that's up there in Missouri at the end of the year, and maybe try to blow this thing up a little bit and just continue to grow it.
Yeah, I don't know Steve-O's vision for that. If down the road it's going to be required to have a trail, but as of right now, there's just opens. You can have the opens and or a trail.
Yeah, I know most of the states, they do that just for that. Like the trail is number one. It's usually a little better payout. It's also like $100 roughly buy-in depending on who's running what state. But that qualifies you for that championship to kind of vie for those the big championship spots overall.
Yeah, and I wonder, Gary, Arkansas kayak fishing. I don't know how many we get with a little higher entry fee trail, if you will. What do you think we would pull numbers wise for that?
Man, I think that would be in the 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it being very much. I think what we're currently doing around the state is working for everybody for the most part, sticking to our local stuff. Now, I'll tell you, here locally, that Northeast Arkansas group has really expanded.
Yeah.
And they seem to have some good momentum. Now, they have a winter series. So, here, we can test your theory. Or it's going to be a $100 entry fee.
Okay.
So I'll be interested to see how that goes. May even have to jump in one or two.
Yeah, we're having the winter
people
series
are
up
duck
here.
hunting in the winter in Arkansas, I would think.
Yeah, there's a winter series up here this year too, Garrett.
Now, what's y'all's entry fee on that? Do you know?
I have no idea because I don't fish.
I definitely don't fish in the winter. It's hard enough to get me out in the summer.
Yeah, it's pretty low. I think Josh Landers running it. I think it's like $40 or something. $40.
Ronnie, what club do you fish with out of Oklahoma?
Oklahoma Kayak Anglers.
Luck Arian and the boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the turkey squad.
The complainers.
No, that's a good group over there, man. That's a good group over there. I was just giving my man William some hell in the Facebook comments, but I know a lot of Oklahoma folks, a lot of great people, great club. Nothing but respect for y'all over there.
Decent folks. I think I'm going to drive to Amarillo next month, so I may holler at y'all in Oklahoma to come get me off the side of the road if my luck continues. Are there any good golf courses near the interstate I can drive off into?
There's a few. There's a few, man. There's a few.
Man, I'll tell you, this year is my first time ever going a 10 killer. And I will definitely be making more trips. I mean, that's about the only place we got big smallmouth around here. Bull Shoal has some, but I mean, that place sold out. So as far as Oklahoma fisheries go, that'll be a place I'll definitely have to go and maybe try to do one of my YouTube videos or something.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to go back to Hochatown, whatever lake that was.
God, I never want to see that place again.
Don't you quit on me.
Hey, all I know is I made it to get Cody Milton up the mountain. So there you go.
Hey, I made it too, baby. I was in rare form that 45 minutes later.
Wild boys out there on the res, boy.
Well, yeah, I know, man. If we hadn't seen the res card, then we never would have known it was time to turn up.
Crazy times. Well, boys, we don't want to keep you too much longer. Ronnie, congrats on punching your ticket, man. Thanks for coming across the border and taking the trophy home, man. And Garrett, well done on the TOC and well done on putting on that open. You're doing
Thanks,
everything,
man.
Doing everything these days.
Doing it all.
I will say I got roped in that before I was TOC certified, I guess. So I will say this. There's a lot of us that unfortunately are becoming the old heads in the game. I feel like I'm becoming one of those guys. It did feel good to do something here locally. We got a lot of knowledge to share. We've been around a lot of tournaments. We've seen how they can be run well. So I'd encourage folks that, if you've been to national events for the last, 2-3 years, maybe try to get something going in your state, especially if they don't have a Bass Nation open yet. It was a little challenging to get the roster up the first time, but I think it'll be really smooth next year and looking forward to doing it again.
There we go.
Sounds good.
Well done. Well, you guys, we'll let you slide out of here. We're going to do this giveaway and wrap this show up. But, hey, tip of the cap to both of you. And I'm sure we'll talk again sometime in the near future.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Congrats, gents.
All right.
There
Later.
we go. Ronny Paeper, Garrett Morgan, everybody.
Dun, dun, dun.
Good show there, Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Now we got to give away some glasses.
Let's do that.
Hashtag Revo, people. Simple. Oh, I should have done border wall. Sorry, Randy.
Should have done border wall. You could have done yard sale. We had a lot of potential there.
Yep.
That's all right. We'll do better next week. Isn't that what we say?
That's right. Simple Revo for the win tonight.
What events are left for the year?
Man, there's not much coming. We're gonna have to get out. You know who we need to have on here soon is daggum it, now his name's slipping my mind. The fella from Big Bass 250 with the emotional story. Trey Dawson.
Oh yeah, Trey. Yeah.
We need to have Trey on.
Sure.
We need to have Trey on soon. We've got a few other non-tournament related guests we can bring on and talk a little kayak fishing. It'd be good.
Yep.
It'd be good.
I like it.
Yeah, we got Thanksgiving coming up next week. You got big plans, man?
I think my truck's going to be done next week. So I'm going to drive 9 hours back to Lake of the Ozarks and get that sucker, hopefully.
You going to stop at Chicks and Dicks or no?
I am not stopping anywhere in Missouri, like not even for gas, not to use the restroom. I'm just going to blaze through that state as fast as I can.
Don't blame me, man. I don't blame you. All right.
I'm gonna start a GoFundMe to cover the $6,000 in extra expenses that brake shop cost me. Had to get a new set of wheels because mine were discontinued. Of course, a new set of tires to go on the new set of wheels. They got me good.
Insurance ain't covering that? Damn.
Oh, they'll buy one wheel, and I was like, well, listen, guys, I tried driving it on 3 wheels and it didn't go far, so I don't think driving it on 1 is going to get me too much further. But I appreciate your participation, Farm Bureau.
Randy, last time you stopped there, you got married.
I didn't sit still that long, Randy.
There we go. Casey Jones and the Fish. I like that name. What a name.
I like it. We're going to end up reviewing his YouTube channel.
Yeah. So there you go. Casey Jones, kayakbassnation@gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll get you that code.
All right. Sounds good. Let's try to think of an idea for next week.
We'll be here.
All right.
Might be late, but we'll be here by God.
Oh, you'll get here. We know.